Okay, my name is Cody Goranson, and we are doing homework assignment 6 for class 23. Now, for this video, we're talking a lot about a specific athlete. We're talking about a 17-year-old cross-country long distance runner for his high school age, so he's in high school, okay? But now, what about him? We're going to be making just some different exercises that they can do. Some LSD, some pace tempo, some interval, some hit, and a fartlek option. Okay, I'm gonna break them down. I think pretty intensely. But let's start with long, slow distance. Okay, I have this individual doing 90 minutes, a 90-minute run at about 60% of their VO2 max. Okay. We don't want to do 70% because this individual, I guess let me start with his stats. He has a resting heart rate of 48 beats a minute, a VO2 max of 75, and a lactate threshold at 70% of his VO2 max. Now, normally for LSD, we kind of want to run around 70% of the VO2 max, but for this individual, that's his lactate threshold, which wouldn't make it LSD anymore. So we're going to lower that to probably about 60% of their VO2 max. Okay, this lowers their running from running at lactate threshold, which is going to be too intensive for their 90-minute run. Okay, it's going to become a really long pace tempo run, which is not really what we want, because we'll do that when we get to pace tempo. Now, max heart rate, you're gonna run with at about 60% of your max heart rate. It shouldn't really heart shouldn't get pumping too hard now. And you're gonna work out in your 60% range of your heart rate reserve. Now, I did calculate it. Since he has a resting heart rate of 48 beats a minute, we're able to find kind of that target heart rate that we want, and that I'd say we don't want to pass. Okay, so we took his max heart rate, which I just did 220 minus his age, so 220 minus 17 is 203, minus his resting, which is 48, which gave me 155. And then now, to help that with our intensity, or to help us calculate, we'll take that and multiply it by our intensity percentage. So if we're at, for example, the first one, we're at 60%. So we did 155 times 60% plus 50, okay? Which gave us 143 beats per minute, okay? We're gonna end up working around into that heart rate. I would do this training. It kind of depends on the time of the year. I'm gonna have them do it once today, and that's it. Okay. Now, for pace tempo, I would maybe do this twice. Okay, twice in one day, and I think, especially for this individual, this would be a really big part of their off season. Okay, they don't have that great of a lactate threshold, so it'd be great to work on that and get that up. So for pace tempo, we're going to work 30 minutes at our lactate threshold, which is 70% of our VO2 max. Okay, we're gonna be at 85% of our max heart rate, give or take. We're gonna work up to that, and 75% of our heart rate reserve, which after calculations comes out to around 166 beats per minute. Okay, Now, I would do this twice. I would have this individual do it twice. I would do it once. Then we're going to take a good water break, good 5-minute rest, come back and get back into it. And now, moving on to number 3. Oh, I haven't mentioned RPE. I'll say for LSD, you'll probably want to be on a scale of 6 to 20, probably around 10 to 14. Okay, you're not going to go too crazy. I think even 14, that kind of lines up with about 140 for the heart rate. So adds up. And then for our pace tempo, you're going to want to be at about 16 RPE. Okay, out of 6 to 20. Again, that kind of lines up perfectly with 166 beats per minute. Now, moving on to interval. It's going to be more intense. Now, shifting from a focus on improving our lactate threshold, we're focusing on improving our VO2 max. So, we're going to work at about 95 to 100% of our max heart rate. Okay, it's gonna get intensive. At about 90% of our heart rate reserve, 90 to 100%. Okay, which kind of, after math, comes out to around 190 beats per minute. So for RPE, you're gonna be around upwards of 19 to 20. Okay, it's gonna be very difficult. But the good thing is we're doing it in intervals. Okay, so you're going to do 3 minutes at 90% of your VO2 max. For this individual, that comes out to 67.5, okay, out of his 75. And we're going to do this 5 times, okay? 5 times by 3 minutes at 90% VO2 max, followed by 2-minute jogs between. So you're going to sprint essentially 3 minutes. You're going to be working very intensively. And then for 2, you're going to slow it down into a 2-minute jog. And then you'll come back after those 2 minutes and kick up pace again. When you're jogging, we'll say RPE is probably going to be around like you'll want to get down to maybe around like a 16. Okay, the idea is that you're keeping the heart rate up, right? You're not resting, so you're not gonna go and pause and RPE is eventually gonna come to 6, right? You're gonna keep jogging and working, keeping your heart rate up, which is good because we're trying to improve our VO2 max. Okay, now number 4 for our HIIT session, our high intensity, we're going to be doing 30-second sprints uphill. Okay, we got a nice little hill at our school. It's not too big of an incline that it's going to be bad on the feet, and will help build even more power. So we're going to do 30-second sprints up the hill 6 times. Okay, when we do this training, we're going to do 6 sets of 30-second sprints uphill. Okay, it's going to be pretty similar to our interval in the sense that we're working at about 95 to 100% of our VO2 max and our heart rate, which also means our heart rate reserve. Okay, very similarly, you're going to be at around 190 beats per minute. Okay, if not even higher. And RPE is going to be about 19 to 20. Okay, we're going to do 1 set of 30-second sprints and then do a 2-minute rest. Okay. Okay, now, when doing HIIT training with this athlete, again, kind of like interval, It's not going to be our biggest focus for this athlete, improving our VO2 max. I don't think that's the biggest focus and what will improve their performance in long distance running the most. But that's not to say it's not important and we don't need to do it. So I would probably do these during the off season, especially interval. I would probably keep it to about, like, even during the off season, I wouldn't make it too big of a part of our off season. Maybe keep it to about 10 to 15% of our training. Now, moving on, our final exercise is fartlek. We're going to be doing 8 sets, 3 minutes on, 2 minutes off. Our on tempo or pace is going to be at our lactate threshold, so 70% VO2 max. And our off tempo is going to be at 45 VO2 max. Okay, out of our brother's, what was his max? 75. So he had a max of 75. On your on tempo, we're going to be running at lactate threshold, which is going to be at about 52.5 VO2 max. And the off tempo will be about 45 VO2 max out of that 75. So that puts into perspective a little bit of the intensity that we're going to be running at.